Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Criminality, the podcast we started because loving reality TV, it's just not a crime, but boy, are there crimes within the genre.
Sometimes it's crimes to my ears, crimes to my eyes.
Sometimes it's crimes against humanity.
I think this might fall under that category.
Yeah.
Rebekah, how are you?
I'm really good. It's a first Friday, new episode, which means we haven't done this in a minute, so I'm always glad to see you and record and put out an episode. How are you?
I'm doing well. I am excited to talk this week, especially because I convinced you to do something you normally wouldn't do, which is number one, put your TV on TLC. That was pushing it.
I've done it, yeah, but it's an exception, not the rule.
It's a trying time. I can't get you back on 1,000-Pound Sisters, and this week is the camel bite. So if not now, then when? But we are going to talk about a family like 1,000 Pounds, not like them, but we are talking about a family, a PolyFamily, if you will.
Yeah, and we should say we're doing a recap of a new show,
that would
and
make
it's
more
not.
sense.
We're not doing a crime story, though. I'm going to bring up a few things that are criminal.
Please do
as we get through. But yeah. Melissa did pique my interest when she showed me that there is a new TLC show called PolyFamily, which, as you might have guessed, you guys are smart. Our listeners are a smart bunch. It's about a polycule family.
Yeah.
Is it a polycule? A
Yes.
polyamorous pod is what they call it.
Yes, I was going to say they call it a closed pod.
Closed pod. Oh, yeah. We'll get into the definitions, but like they're poly. It's two couples, four people.
Right.
And so, want to get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. So as with most new shows, new characters, there's just a lot of establishing shots and scenes, right? So the first half, I sure hope I get this right. They are all different people, and yet I could not keep up with who was who.
It took a bit. Mm-hmm.
And they don't even all look alike necessarily at all.
Not at all.
It just, they are somehow still very similar, and it was hard.
Yeah.
Okay. So like we said, this is PolyFamily, and it is about a closed polyamorous pod. And closed mean they're not open to bringing in outside partners. They don't swing. It is two couples. It's Tyler and Alysia, and they are married. It's Taya and Sean, and they are married. But then they basically reverse so that Alysia is Sean's girlfriend and Taya is Tyler's girlfriend.
Right. Clear as mud.
Okay, great. So that's the established structure of the family. Okay, so Tyler and Alysia were married with two children before coming into the couple. So their kids are 8 and 9, named Raina and Dylan, a boy and a girl. And then each woman, once they had all gotten together, and we'll get into how they got together, had a baby. So they also have two little toddlers in addition to the two olders. They have an almost 2-year-old and a 16-month-old. And those little boys are named Carver and Barrett, and they're pretty cute.
They're super cute.
They're really, really cute. Now, the clincher with the babies is that don't nobody know who the daddy is by design.
Yeah.
So the way these couples live is that each woman has a dedicated bedroom in the house. The husbands do not. So the men rotate nights and bedrooms with only a toothbrush and a pillow with them. Yes, they are.
The older I get,
to
the
their
more
pillow.
a pillow is like,
You get
it's
that?
my pillow. Yeah, absolutely.
Every time I go to a hotel, go, why did I not bring my own pillow?
Every time I go to a hotel, bring my pillow cover because it's like the silky one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm bringing in hotel germs to my life, but the cover of it, it's so good.
So a pillowcase, you put it on. That's smart because that's easier to pack. Though if it's a road trip, I'm like bringing my pillow because they're usually way too soft.
Absolutely.
They make my neck hurt.
Yes. We're too old for this.
We're too old for this nonsense. Okay. Good to know. So the system is one night on, one night off. So you're with your husband on a Monday. That means you're with your boyfriend on a Tuesday. But the guys don't get their own room. Like I said, they rotate. Good. So because of this design, they don't know whose baby it is because each woman is sleeping with both men.
Right.
And they've decided and established as a family that they don't want to find out because then it's like, who's the real dad? Like that could lead to hurt feelings or possession or territory stuff.
What a terrible idea.
What they're doing. Well, we get to that, right? Like there's some real common sense things that you might need to maybe know who your baby's dad is, like for legal or medical reasons. So that's what they're doing. And we learned that there's a little tension between Sean and Tyler. And they say themselves, like, we live together, we parent together, we have mutual partners, but in any other scenario, we wouldn't even be friends.
How would that be? Living with...
Excuse me?
I know. What? It feels like a little more than that.
Make it make sense, Melissa.
No, absolutely not. I feel like that would be a very important part of all of our relationships for the two dudes to get along but they don't at all. Like they don't. Tyler is very passive, I would say, and doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Sean says, you got feelings? Not anymore. I just smushed him. He's a monster. I can't stand that man.
I can't either. That's the criminal part for me is his shirts and his tattoos. Rejected.
I said personality, but yeah, that too.
Ugh. Well, so the producer, in the little confessional moments.
Oh, I love a good producer.
Yeah. And you really hear very clearly the question, is there any intimacy between you two, to the two men? And they say, no, we're straight and there's never been and there never will be intimacy between us. And then the producer says, what about Taya and Alysia? Both women say no. Right. And the men are like, lies, liars.
Sean goes off on it and is like, let me tell you, I have a calendar. I can tell you all the times, which I thought was so rude to just say it when they're clearly like, I'm not saying anything.
Right. I'm like, again, you guys have established so many rules and yet there feels like a couple that you may have missed. Like
there are so many rules.
We'll get to the rules.
I can't wait.
So then the women cop to it. And we learn Taya's pansexual, which means she's attracted to the person. Gender doesn't matter. And so the two of them have been romantically involved. Right. And they have no problem with it. But it seemed like it hasn't happened in a while. I mean, they have like 4 kids. Oh, and Taya is pregnant currently with the 5th child of the family. Who's the dad? Who knows? Who cares? Not important to our poly family. So we get a little commentary on them about how this all came to be and how they view it. And one thing I thought Tyler said that was interesting is, why not 2? If 1 is good, 2 is better.
That's some Cody Brown stuff. No.
Right? Actually, I'm glad, of course, Sister Wives would come up.
Yes.
I have to say, saving it for the end.
Okay.
So we learned that Tyler and Alysia wanted to do this, and they kind of started before they were even married in terms of bringing in other partners into their relationship. They were basically swingers. They would go out with other couples and do swingy stuff. And then we find out they put an ad in the seeking section.
I was surprised.
Looking for another couple to maybe do more of a formal polyamory thing with. And quote, Alysia says, but nothing came of it. Yikes. That's brutal. Yeah. I'd be so mortified if everyone's going to pass on that.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't think too much about that because I was just too outraged over other things. But yeah, I guess now that you say it. I don't know.
I'm just maybe sensitive to rejection right now, but that just sounded sad. So 7 years go by and they're like, let's try again. And I guess they used an app this time, right? Because times have changed. So they matched with Sean and Taya and they start dating them and hooking up with them. And then basically Tyler talks about how he kind of fell for Taya. He's like, she's really cool and I'm thinking about her all the time. And so they kind of pretty quickly become 2 couples and the women not leave their husbands.
I love watching your brain work as you're trying to say this.
For people at home, I look like I'm doing a Rubik's Cube with my hands. I'm like, oh. It is hard for my brain, but I'm spatially challenged and numerically. So there's a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah.
But basically, the women decide to stay with their husbands, but date the other guy. And so this foursome forms. And just a few months into them being in a relationship, Sean's like, we're moving in within 6 months.
Yeah.
Because there was a distance, right? Like they were driving
4 hours
a lot.
or something.
Yeah. And so that was getting exhausting. And they have children, right? And so everyone was like, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it did not seem like they had to pull anybody's leg on that.
Yeah, but he seems like he kind of gets what he wants and nobody was going to push back. And that freaks me out a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't like that dynamic at all. But I will say they're like, yeah, we did do that within 6 months and it's 4 years later and they're all still together. But I see the cracks. I don't feel good about this.
With Sister Wives, we really didn't see cracks early on. It's upon a rewatch that you do.
100%.
If we're seeing little cracks already,
yeah.
Imagine season 2. I am already so excited for the demise of this entire thing.
It's already brewing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say what I was going to say before.
Yes.
I prefer the Sister Wives rotation plan. Different houses.
Yeah.
And then you get nights off from anyone.
I don't want anyone
in this scenario, there's always a man in your bed. And they talked about their rule being, okay, so if they're driving somewhere together, you have to sit with your person who it's their night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And then if it's their night, obviously you have to sleep together. But you can like hug or kiss the other person. That's totally fine. But you can't sleep with them at night.
Or you can't. You also have to sit on the couch next to them.
You have to sit next to your husband or your
partner
person
that night.
The partner that night on the couch. Yeah. Very specific.
Break.
Very specific.
What happened is my question for these rules to come up. Like who was not sitting with who?
Taya and Tyler happened.
Oh, yeah.
Those
that's
two
true.
can't stop making out. Like, get a room is what I said a couple times.
Have one. And he
use
has two, technically.
Yeah. Their love language, as they both said a couple times, is physical touch. And yeah, these two are putting together a bassinet. And I thought,
yeah, I thought, can you get pregnant twice? Because I think we might see this.
Yeah, because they were like, okay, now we can have a baby. And it kind of was like, now we can have a baby. Ugh.
I know.
Yeah, no, I know. I also have a note here that Tyler got better looking in this montage of them dating and then getting married. Tyler had a glow up.
Stuff. Yeah, it's
his
working
style
better
improved. I'll just say that about him.
Yeah.
So then we meet the kids a little bit more formally, and the producer asked the kids, like, so how many people are in your family? And that girl is so cute.
So cute.
Her name's Raina, and she's like 8, and then she names everybody, and then she's like telling her brother to finish. She's like, say the rest.
I loved it. She did the first one. She's like, your turn.
Yeah.
So cute.
Really, really cute. And then, of course, they're having this baby who's already named Quentin. And there was this really cute scene where the toddlers are introduced. They come like running into the room, and these little boys are adorable. And the youngest one said everybody's name. They pointed to every family member, and he was like, Taya.
To be fair,
Tyler.
half of them were mom and half of them were dad. And then it was like,
but he said their name. Oh no, you're right. He said mom and dad. And then he said all the kids' names.
Yeah, true.
And Quentin.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was impressed.
Okay.
So they talk about the co-parenting, how they established that. And this seems the most complicated to me. And we see that come up later because the kids were 4 and 5 when it started. So there was enough history with their parents as their mom and dad, and then to be introduced to a new mom and dad. But it certainly seems that it's working. Like the kids seem very comfortable and at ease. And I guess it's young enough that it's also like, this is the new normal because it's so formative, right? It's like learning a new language. But Taya and Sean say, well, they fell in love with the kids too. And like they consider them their own.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I know step parents exist, and I know there's great step parents, and they can step in and be a parent and all that. In this situation, me personally, well, actually, we'll wait till we get into it more. But like,
well, no, go ahead.
The confusing thing to me are the two kids that came into this. So they came into this. So I feel like the rules should be kind of different, or like,
I agree.
You have them as your primary parents because they've been your parents, and not to have this other person aggressively step in over your parenting. That made me
get to
hot in the worst way.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like that's where I'm like, this is not going to go well just from that perspective. I don't like it.
100% agree. And I think maybe when the kids get older, who knows?
Right.
But when you start connecting some dots, there could really be some issues there, right? So then the women are describing, like, everybody has their role in the family, like any family. Tyler's like the fix-it guy. Sean is super organized. Taya stays home with the kids primarily. She like oversees the domestic stuff. Alysia does all the activities management, make sure people are where they need to go and signed up for things. Again, I think we've said this about Sister Wives. That's the part that's appealing. It's like, yeah,
absolutely.
Raising a family is super hard. And sometimes the more hands on deck, the better. But it can be complicated.
Also, 3 incomes. They have, Taya doesn't have one, but they have 3 incomes. So that is appealing.
Lord, in this economy, you need like 5 parents. So then we go to a scene where the ladies go to get a manicure together.
Oh, gosh.
And they talk about how they're basically best friends, like sisters and family. And I would think, yeah, you would probably have to be. But they do have issues. And they made another rule, which is we confront issues in real time. In the moment, because things can fester. Yeah. And then, you know, you're swapping a partner and things can get like kind of crazy. So they always confront things right away. But just a side note on the manicures. So we see them like the camera angle is like kind of looking down on them and their nails are forward. Did you see the eyelashes? I mean, I don't know how you could miss them.
That was the thing. I can't believe I hadn't brought this up already. Yeah, the eyelashes. Whoa. I'm like, well, they go to the same person because these are offensive.
Tarantulas on both women. Really bad.
It's hard because there are like, I can't put on false lashes. You and I have gone over this. We've struggled. We both tried to get
Jenna Lyons ones.
The Jenna Lyons ones didn't work.
Nope.
Seemed lovely.
Great customer service.
Amazing. Remember? I got something free. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But can't get into that world because I'm afraid that's what's going to happen to me. Like, I'm afraid of false lashes. Some people can do it and it looks nice, but I'm afraid I would end up in that territory on accident. And people would be like, it looks great.
No.
It looks like their eyes are tired.
The lesson has been learned on like the style of lashes that work. I don't know where they were, but everyone learned it like 5 years ago. I don't know where these women were. They will be different season 2. If there's a season 2, I guarantee you they'll have better lashes, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
They're going to hear a lot about this, and it's going to start with me. Okay. They talked about like, does it ever happen that you're in a fight or don't want to be with your designated guy that night? And they're like, yeah, all the time. If they're grumpy or in a bad mood or in a fight, but you can't switch nights, you can't swap, but you can sleep on the couch.
I appreciated that rule because you should have to suffer like the rest of us and still be with that person, even if you're really mad at them. That actually sounds like a perfect system. Just honestly, I would end up single in all of these situations. No. Wouldn't be good for me.
No, in any multiple, like more than 2 people marriage, I'm just going to have to require that there's nights I'm with no one. It's too much people.
Yeah.
Too much people. So the producer's like, who's the best kisser? Blah. And without hesitation, Alysia says Tyler has a thin upper lip and that he doesn't pucker. And so that means Sean is the shoo-in as the better kisser. And I was shocked.
I was shocked and appalled and was wondering if Sean was asking this question and like with a gun behind them, because I can't figure out any type of movement with his mouth that would make me happy unless it was to be quiet.
Unless it was zippered shut and wired shut.
Yep. He goes full Kanye in like 2000 and wires the whole thing.
There you go. So this kind of starts a conversation about the couple's individual, intimate bedroom relationships.
Yeah.
We're talking about sex. So Alysia says she's kind of competitive in general, and she thinks a lot about the sex life of Tyler and Taya.
Yeah.
Right, because that's her husband.
Girl. Oh, this isn't for you.
And I'm thinking, this is maybe not the structure for you. If you can't stop thinking about your husband with his girlfriend that you have like brought into your home by design and choice. Yeah. I mean, she starts crying, talking about it. This is not like a past wound. This is an active
This is every
situation.
Night. She's like keeping a calendar. It's rough.
It's really strange. And then she says like she basically has to not think about it because... and not talk about it. Like she's like, I can't ask questions because I'll wonder how often they did this. Do they ever do this? And she suspects they do more interesting things because, or no, maybe Taya says that. I think Taya says
they do. I think they do. And she's right on that one, Alysia.
Yeah, she shouldn't know. But I think Taya says, you know, basically like the variations are happening over here because I know Alysia won't do it. So she's like, got a very different relationship with Tyler. That would be really hard. And it's not like she doesn't know. I mean, she might not know specifically, but they're in the same house. Mm-hmm. So that just feels like such a strange choice to me. So then we see the men and their girlfriends in two different like parallel scenes. We've got Taya and Tyler building the bassinet, and I said, get a room. Like, just like even them building a bassinet is like making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So they're kind of comparing and contrasting the couple's dynamics because Sean and Alysia are grocery shopping. They seem like the married couple, don't they?
Absolutely.
Because I thought they were for a minute. The way they were going through the grocery store, I'm like, they hate each other.
Absolutely. If you don't argue with the person you're with in the grocery store the entire time, are you even married? I don't think so.
Exactly. Like, they both sucked there.
Absolutely.
But Sean took the prize.
Sean is the worst.
Ugh. I mean, just saying no to things, like it's
like
his
he
decision.
knows anything.
About,
I don't believe he knows anything.
100%. So they're like just going around the grocery store. If you're wondering if the show is exciting, I'd say no.
They're just going around the grocery store.
They've built a bassinet so far. We are now grocery shopping. Yeah. They do go out later. Yeah. You're going to have that part. They do have a social night. So, this is where we see Sean's tattoos for the first time because he had the good sense to cover his arms for the first scenes when we first met him. Cover him back up, Sean. It's like he's half sleeved. I'm into sleeves. Where he sleeved himself is like so bizarre, and
what's the opposite of a 3/4 sleeve shirt? Because that's where it is. Like it cuts up a little higher, but as a sleeve, what?
Yeah, I don't know. But it is like if he was wearing long evening gloves, but that were half length. That is where his tattoo is. It's so like. Who came up with this?
Princess, and he had on his gloves. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Oh. I couldn't get past it. And then there's this scene where some guy says she had a great, and I noticed that he said past tense.
Yeah.
About when they first met. Who was that said that?
It had to have been Sean.
I think it was Sean.
100%.
I don't know who he was talking about. I thought it was Alysia, but wouldn't he say it about his wife? No, it wasn't. It was about Alysia. And I was just like, oh, really, Sean? Shall we comment on your physique? Because we could. We're not going to, though.
But we could. Just know it.
But we could.
Just know it.
So we learn that. So Alysia says that she and Sean are very type A and that their love language is picking on each other. And we'll talk about picking a little more later. Because she actually might mean it literally. Oh. I thought she meant like picking ribbing, joking. Yeah. I think she did. But also we learn later she's a picker.
Yeah.
So many...
It is on TLC. We've got pimple popper, the feet stuff. It makes sense.
They're like, if you could bring in some gross skin stuff, we'd be really grateful. Our audience expects it. Taya says Tyler really wears his emotions on his face. I think she meant his sleeve, but she just means like he's not good at covering up his feelings and that Sean doesn't. He's the opposite, total stoic. I'm like, I don't know. He kind of always seems mad to me. Like that is always on his face. So then she says that Taya says they have to prioritize their married partner in terms of the long-term picture of the relationship. So if any spouse at any time said, I don't want to do this anymore, the person married to that person has to basically say, okay, and they get out. And so
that's
I don't know.
Happen.
That feels like a lot of risk and weird vulnerability, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the only person at this point I could see doing that is Tyler. And there's no way Tyler's going to do that because
then he'd lose Taya. Yeah, exactly.
But he hates Sean. So
I could see Alysia doing it, though, because now Taya's having a baby. That's like one more thing that's going to be a little bit more hers. Because I don't know.
Pretty deep with this family already, I will say.
I know. For people who aren't loving the show, we certainly have a lot to say. So Taya is the pregnant one. It comes up again about who's the baby daddy. And Tyler's just like, it's math. Like,
right.
So I'm like, I kind of don't doubt it. Also, if you were in a lineup of the couples, wouldn't you guess the ones that are not married were the married ones?
Absolutely.
Like Tyler and Taya seem like a married couple and Sean and Alysia seem like a married couple. It's so interesting. It's almost like they actually found their right person in the PolyFamily.
I was shocked to see the couples as the married couples. And one thing we didn't say about Sean and Taya is that Sean was like 40 when they met. Wasn't she like 22? He was her supervisor.
What?
Yes. And she's in her 20s.
Wait, Taya is?
Taya's in her 20s.
Dude, those lashes are aging her.
They are.
Take those off. She'll be 5 years younger, I swear.
Sadly. But yeah, so
that's weird.
Young.
How didn't I miss that? I think I kind of dissociate a little bit when he's on camera.
You should. It's very Whitney Rose and whatever her husband's name is.
Yeah.
That
Justin.
Yeah.
J-Dog. Okay, hold on. So then I just wrote, they look like a real couple in the grocery store, which I already said. And I said they hate each other. And Alysia says that Sean won't do anything she asks of him, and Tyler will literally do anything even before she asks. So I'm just feeling like no one's really into Sean.
Yeah. And
no
one
should
should be.
Think the kids are either, but I'm going to pass it on to you now because I ended with the grocery store scene and this was just a lot of ground laying.
Yeah.
The fun, quote unquote, kind of starts in the
Sorry
second
about
half.
that. Yes.
Yeah,
it
no,
does.
all good.
Okay, so Tyler said during this whole thing, he's going to wonder who is his biological kid. It's human nature. But again, nobody's going to find out who the biological father is of Taya's kid. And you know they're going to fight about it even subconsciously because that's how Sean is for sure, right?
I just can't imagine that doesn't nag at you. Like just morbid curiosity or not
Absolutely.
morbid, just curiosity.
For sure. So we see Sean and Alysia like bickering, just the picking thing, the whole Alysia says like, we get these kind of veggies. And Sean says, well, Tyler said we got this one. And she's like, well, Tyler lied. And I wouldn't want to be in a grocery store with these people.
Oh my gosh. If I like went down the aisle and encountered them, it'd just such a quick turnaround.
Right? You go like two up and like do whatever you can to miss out on them. So Alysia, then we see her talking and she's like, I fell in love with Sean really quickly. Ma'am, how? She said it was hard to ignore him. That's true.
He's tough to miss.
Fair. And
She's like, I tried.
Yeah.
Literally could not see him.
No, he has too much to say. And she's, talking, like you said, about how similar she and Sean are and that she and Tyler are opposites. But like, that is why it works sometimes because people do complement each other in the things that they're missing. And Sean says that he and Alysia are super similar. And he says, though, that she's used to Tyler, who backs down on things. He doesn't. He will give you his opinion, even if you don't ask for it. Who asked, Sean? Nobody's going to ask. Please, nobody even wanted to know that.
It's even demonstrated. We see it. We know. She didn't have to tell us.
Sean reminds me of somebody. And maybe it's just a terrible person, just like a general open up a dictionary and look up a terrible person. But he really does remind me of somebody. And I don't like that. It's not a compliment.
Now that you're saying that, I'm feeling it too. And I think we're going to come up with it. Is it a housewife husband?
It could be. It really could be.
Okay, we'll keep thinking.
Let's keep thinking, yeah. Sean says that he and Tyler aren't similar at all. Duh. We see now that it's 3 days before the induction for Taya.
Oh, we learned she has gestational diabetes.
She has gestational diabetes, so she's going to be induced, and they're going out to a bar, meeting some of their family, Taya's family. Some of them are there, including her mother, who I thought was her sister.
Yeah, looks so young. But if she's only in her 20s, then her mom could only be in her 40s, potentially.
Yeah, true. Okay, and Taya's saying at this bar, whatever, like, oh, we're out and, seeing my family. The grandparents, who you remember Taya's young enough to have grandparents that would still be alive, are actually able to watch the babies. And so I was like, well, there's another, like, one mark for this situation.
Sure.
I mean, hire a nanny, but
also my mom would demand to know the dad. She would just go, just tell me. I won't tell anyone.
I know, just like dad. Write it on a piece of paper, slide it to me.
Forget we ever had this conversation. I'll burn it. What paper? Yeah.
Exactly. And so producers asked Taya, like, how did you come out to your family, that you guys were in this situationship? And she said, my mom was supportive right away. And she said that she was happy to meet Tyler and Alysia. And she basically said when they all moved in together, she was like, oh, this is serious. So she acted like it was serious.
I mean, pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a lot to process.
Yeah. She seemed very, very nice. All of a sudden, Alysia says Sean doesn't have many living family. And I was like, yeah, because he's father time compared to the rest of you, or at least compared to Taya.
See, what I hear is like, that's suspicious.
Or I know, but I also hear like that are speaking to him because he's not very nice.
Right. Maybe he's just dead to them.
Yeah. Exactly that. So then we kind of hear about everyone's little family, how they reacted. Tyler's mom didn't get it at first. His dad still doesn't, blah, blah, blah. We're on national TV. We're going to have to deal with this at this point, guys. Taya says in every conversation, if you meet somebody new, you have to share this whole situation. And I could see how that would be exhausting if every time you meet somebody, you're like, this is my husband and this is my boyfriend and then this is his wife. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a weird day. So Jill, which is Taya's mom, does this whole conversation with the producer. You just want your kids to be happy, blah, blah, blah. Great.
She's most worried about someone getting hurt, her daughter getting hurt, any of them,
I would prefer we worry about the kids in this situation, but okay, worry about your daughter too. A producer, I guess, asked one of Alicia's friends outside, how did you find out that Alysia and Tyler were in this couple or whatever, this polycule? And she's like, I was at a wedding and Alysia pulled me over and was like, hey, you know my husband, meet my boyfriend and meet my boyfriend's wife. And that was kind of it. And that was a lot for me. Can you imagine if that was my wedding? I'd be pissed somebody was
that
using
her wedding?
No, it wasn't her wedding, but I'm saying
at a wedding.
If I was the bride and I found out she's like introducing everybody to her people, I'd be like, that was kind of rude, don't you think?
Okay. Yes, but wedding top of mind. You're like, oh, speaking of marriage.
Sure. Speaking
I've
of,
got
yeah.
3 or I don't know.
This is one thing that drives me crazy. And I mentioned this maybe off mic, where every time these people are together, they're like, is it your night? Is it my night? It's every other night. You guys aren't really wondering what
The
night
way
it
they
is.
put their heads together, it was like me trying to figure out which couple was which. I'm like, you guys.
Yeah.
It's 2 options. Like,
And also the women don't even need to worry about it. It's the
they
dudes
just have
that
to
are
go to their
switching.
bed. Right. Sure. They might be unpleasantly surprised when
Yeah, true.
Sean walks in.
In the words of Bethany, go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
And if you're Taya, go to sleep. Make Tyler leave you alone. You've got to be so tired.
No, she's into it.
I know.
She's just fine.
So I guess Sean figures out it's his night with Taya and he's like, oh, I'm super excited. And that makes Alysia, the competitive one, say to Sean, are you excited about the night with me? Like they're in,
I can't.
wasn't that weird? And competitive. Like I was like, oh, you actually are competitive. This is weird.
She's calling it competitive. Is it insecurity though? Like,
Yeah,
I
maybe.
mean, it's a little, I mean,
Jealousy
and I think
or
I'd be the
something.
same way. I'm not even criticizing her. I'm just like, sure, there might be some competition to it, but I also think it's just like a deep insecurity. Because if you
Yeah.
were secure in that whole setup, you'd kind of be like, what
This
they
is
do is
another
what they
night.
do, and what we do is what we do.
Yeah. And what we do is sleep because there's no way I'm touching you, Sean.
We do is pick each other's faces. It's true.
I hate it. Okay, and then I said they kiss, and Tyler and Alysia have to kiss. Like they all, like one of them
Yeah.
kisses, and then the other
know.
two have to.
I know.
Like, it's so weird. Ugh.
I know.
Okay, and they say, you know, people don't really talk poorly about them, I guess, to their faces, but they do behind their back. So
Yeah, that
they're
sucks.
expecting this kind of a recap.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Oh, I'm like, I feel bad. And then I'm like, oh, I'm doing. I'm not criticizing their lifestyle. I'm criticizing them.
Oh, as individuals, absolutely.
Yes, as people.
I mean this with the most disrespect. I don't like any of them.
No, they're very vanilla. And I say this as a pretty basic bee.
Yeah. I mean, vanilla is maybe too spicy,
Like
but
their lifestyle isn't, but like they're boring.
as
people.
humans, yes.
They
Absolutely.
all sound the same. Like there's no variation in like their speech pattern or their, I don't get it. Okay.
I have got to figure out who Sean reminds me of because it's just in my head and I
No,
don't know why
I
it's
know,
making me crazy.
I know.
I'm gonna have to ask ChatGPT after this. Okay.
I wish ChatGPT could start reading our minds. I mean, they're getting there.
Yeah. Give it a week. 2 weeks, an update. So we're talking about Taya having this baby. It's in 3 days. You know, they've got to prepare. And
Yeah,
the
she's
group
being induced.
Yeah, and the group of people are like, oh, it's going to be Alysia that's in there. And everyone's like, what? How is it Alysia? Like, she's
Right.
definitely not one of the 2 dads. Like, you can put money on that one. I feel pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess they say that the other babies were born during COVID. And so only one person could be in the room. So I guess the guys were in the rooms for each baby. And then Alysia, well, she had one of the babies. She couldn't be in a room, right?
Well, maybe the men swapped like during labors.
Who
Like
knows?
a rotation.
You just make me so mad.
Yeah.
So anyway, the idea is basically if Alysia wants to be in there with Taya, she can. So great. Which honestly, I would probably rather a woman in there with me when I'm
Yeah.
giving birth because they know what you're going through and are more
Yeah,
helpful.
totally.
Oh, and they're like, can more people be there? They're like, we're not really sure. We like plan for the perfect situation and then make a second plan. And that I could relate to. I am always going to have a backup plan. I'm never going to start with the good one.
the plan B.
Plan B is my plan A. That should be, if I get a tattoo, I'm going to get it in a weird spot like Sean
Yeah.
and say plan B is my plan A. Because you always have to think like that.
Well, no, you do. You're an Enneagram 6. So some of us actually
literally
don't.
do.
Like, I have anxiety, but I am winging it a
Yeah.
lot. It's why we work. It's why in a was trying to make a... Yeah, I was thinking of like a podcast cue.
Yeah.
Like, we work, Melissa.
It does.
This works.
Yeah. And we can both go off to our separate rooms.
Amen.
So now, here's where it gets geared up and where I got very feisty watching this.
Oh, boy.
We see... Yes, you know.
Is it the bed?
Baby Raina. Oh, we're talking about something different.
Oh, okay.
Tell me what you were going to say.
No. We'll get there. I'm sure you're not going to overlook this scene.
I think I know
about
what you're
baby
gonna say.
Raina.
Okay, little Raina. So Tyler comes in, sits at the table.
This.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Sean is sitting at the table. They're clearly drinking Mountain Dew and eating Cheetos, but they have the labels ripped off, which I was like, this is going to be changing in season 2 as well, I'm sure. So Tyler is Raina's biological father. That's the one that was with her from the time she was born. Sean is some new guy that came up in their house 4 years ago. Go ahead.
Well, Raina, I'm like,
So
I don't mean disrespect. She's like the new Truly, like, because she's younger than Truly is now. Like, I get that feeling from her. I'm like, this kid is it. Like, she is just so... I just love everything about her.
She's so
her hair,
sweet.
her glasses,
I know.
like
And
how she talks.
Yes, all of it. So anyway, so they're sitting down and Tyler says to Raina, like, hey, how was your day? And, you know, she doesn't really say much. He's like, what'd you do at recess? And as she goes to answer, friggin' Sean says, Raina, remember you're grounded today, so you need to eat your snack and then go downstairs.
Okay. Let's just pause here for a few reasons. Go ahead. I just want to like really deep and same rage.
Yeah. And so Tyler is like, okay, again, that's Tyler's child. It's both of their children, whatever. But for Sean to overstep Tyler, discussing, like talking to his kid, like if you're truly that grounded, truly that grounded, you wouldn't be having a snack. You would be downstairs. Like, why would you be allowed to talk to other people? It was a control thing.
I disagree. Actually, I think I took issue, of course, with him like interjecting and like stopping this very normal interaction.
So normal.
Even if she's grounded, why can't she have a snack and talk to her dad after school?
Totally. I'm just saying, like, if it was really like she cannot speak to anyone, then why are you even giving her that? That's what I mean. I'm saying, like,
just
you set her up.
Downstairs, is her room down there? Like,
I
is there a
know.
basement? What are we talking about? And this kid is young. I don't even think. Like, why
8
do
or
you get
9?
grounded at 9?
I know.
I feel like it's more timeout age, but let's not get into parenting.
Crazy.
I hated everything about it, including the aquarium tank behind them.
Oh, I know. That took me a second, and I saw it behind Tyler's head, and I was
It's like 5 foot 6 feet. Like, what?
I know. There's a lot going on. So Tyler leaves the table, which I understand. Obviously, he doesn't want to argue in front of his kid.
Which I give him so much credit for. Like, he didn't blow up or flip a table. He just needed to leave the room.
Yeah, and it was just so rude. So now we see Sean on the couch, Mr. Perfect, and he's like, well, Raina's grounded for lying. Everyone knows that she's grounded for lying, and, you know, that's just how it is. And poor Tyler's on the couch, you know, they cut to him, and he's like, I haven't seen my kids all day. I've been working. I work long days. I just wanted to bond with my kids. And he's irritated that Sean interrupted the conversations. It wasn't like at the end of it, hey, Raina, when you're finished, you know, go ahead and finish your snack.
No, it was
remember,
such a like power play.
It was just to be like, look what I can do. And that's it.
But like Tyler in that part where they're talking it out said, but it's my kid. Like he said that triggered Sean. Yeah. Because they're supposed to say our kid.
Yeah. I would throw that out all the time to Sean. Big Sean would get that from me all the time because I would do what I needed to do.
Yeah. But then Tyler talks about, he's like, for 5 years, I talked about my kids. And it is hard to go to our kids. Like sometimes the brain just, you know, defaults.
I get it. That makes sense. Tyler's saying, you know, it was tough to go from 2 parents to now 4 parents. Everyone has the same say in what's going on, which I feel like a lot of times, I could be wrong, but in step-parent situations, they seem to default to the primary parent.
Yeah.
And then,
in a healthy situation. Yeah.
Of course. And then there's times when they step in, but not when the dad is just asking this kid how their day was. That's insane.
Well, and if nothing else, you kind of have to, as co-parents in that situation, be on the same page. Like that's like parenting 101 is like, hey, let's what we present to the kids be the same. Yeah. And I know not every parent gets it right every time, but like clearly Sean doesn't care about that at all.
No, that's the last thing he cares
So selfish.
about. It was super selfish. And so, Tyler's saying he's frustrated. You see them sitting on the couch now. We see in not real time, but in real time, the story. Sean is sitting on the one side of the couch. Tyler's now sitting on the other. So obviously Raina's back in the dungeon or wherever he sent her off to.
Seriously, can we get a wellness check on Raina, please?
And you see Tyler kind of turning and looking at Sean and saying, he's saying to Sean, like, if Raina's grounded, like, when am I supposed to see her? Clearly, Tyler works a longer day than Sean. That's what I got out of this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean is looking straight ahead, like as angry and red-faced as you can be.
Yeah.
I wrote that Sean's looking into the void because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And Tyler's like looking at him, trying to have this conversation. He knows he's supposed to have these conversations and not let it fester and all this stuff. And you can tell it's killing Tyler. Like this conversation would be hard for me.
Yes. Agreed. I'm pretty impressed with Tyler.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you're doing
like overall.
this.
Yeah.
Totally. He's like,
we
I
like
don't
him
hate
the
him the most. Yes.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm with you. Yeah. We'll rank him at the end.
Yeah, we will. Let's see. Okay. So without looking back at Tyler. So again, Tyler and Sean sitting on the same couch, Sean looking straight ahead, Tyler to the side. Sean looks straight ahead and says, yeah, I get that, but that's the consequence of being grounded. And I know that sucks, but you guys tend to get off task. So I had to say something. I felt like the audacity was born in the other room, came in and slapped Tyler across the face because what are you talking about? They get off task saying, how's your day?
I mean, so patronizing to speak to a grown man and the father of that child that way. Like, who do you think you are, sir?
And also just the idea of it being off task to talk to your daughter. Like, it wasn't like we're going to go to the fair and,
I know.
she's grounded.
It's like ice cream sundaes.
Yeah.
And the other thing he said was, I think Tyler says something like, you could have given me the opportunity to like redirect to the grounding, which I would have. I just was like chatting with her a little. And he goes, yeah, but the problem is you don't. Or like you, like he said something like, what did he say? Like you typically don't, or you wouldn't, or you.
He said, so as Tyler's trying to connect with him and like have this adult conversation, he's like, it's not the first time she had to be reminded to be on task. So he's like, also like, you weren't here before. You don't know what this was like. Get over yourself, sir.
My gosh.
So then we see some of that confessional footage of them talking about the my kid versus our kid and how that could be.
Right.
I mean, I feel like that's also Tyler's only card to play with Sean. And I'd play it quite a bit if I was him. He needs something. Sean and Tyler, I think this is when they were both sitting on the couch together and he's saying to the producers, yeah, we're not best friends. We're never going to be best friends. Our relationship is really the last one in this family, which does make sense, I guess. But basically, like, we're never going to work on this. This is just how it is. And that's Sean.
Yeah.
So now it's Tyler and Alicia's night together. So they are the married couple. They're one of the married couples. And he goes in the room and Alysia has one of those wax things that you can put in somebody's ear. It's very
that
TLC.
Connects to an app that you can see what it's seeing. Right. But we don't need to see it.
Yeah. We don't need to see it. And why do you, not a doctor, also need to see it? I've never used that, so I don't really understand the things it can be used for, but it didn't make sense. Oh, and this is where like Tyler's like, yeah, this feels gross. I don't like this. And Alysia talks about the picking, which is what Rebekah was saying before, that she likes to pick. And Sean lets her pick, which is why it works.
I mean, here's the thing. We hate that which we are.
Oh, gosh.
I don't pick other people.
No.
I am like, if I have something, I'm picking. Like, I'm not great about like, if it's like, it only hurts if I touch it. I'm touch.
Absolutely.
So I'm not judging her for that, but I am judging that like she's always in someone's face trying to do it.
Yeah. And I just can't imagine the things you could find on Sean. So it probably is
like a science experiment. And she was like, yeah, but Tyler lets me.
Yeah.
I'm like, so save it for your dates with Tyler, you weirdo.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, his body is a wonderland. It's a wonderland.
It's a specimen.
Yeah, that's been closed and condemned by the state. So as Tyler is in here with his wife, Alysia, he brings up what happened earlier in the day with Raina.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's frustrating. I don't get to see her as much. I was just trying to talk to her. And she's like, okay, did you say something then? Then, as you said, that's like the rule. You say it in the moment. And he's like, No, I was pissed. I left and I came back. You cannot say something like that in the moment with the kids there.
I was just going to say, well, the kids were there. He made the total right call.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't have been cool. That would have made a bad thing worse.
Absolutely. So then it would look like Tyler was making the mistake when Big Sean is the one. I'm saying Big Sean like the rapper. He's like normal size. So anyway, you know what's next. Rebekah, I'd like you to say what we see in the other room.
Meanwhile, back at the other bedroom, we have a situation that needs, like, police might need to be called. Touch your toes, shave your legs. We've all been there if we've had a baby.
Yeah.
It's Sean, right?
Yeah, it's Sean,
it's
surprisingly.
So no, but that's what makes it so terrifying. So it's kind of a sweet thing, okay? You can't shave your legs, so maybe your husband or partner does it for you. I don't remember that. I don't think my ex ever did that for me. I don't know if I shaved them or not. I don't remember. My kids
I think at some point I gave up.
I'm assuming I did too.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any like real summer babies, so I could probably have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
She's laying like horizontally on the bed.
Right.
And he has not like a pink plastic women's razor, like a barber type that you would do a man's bald head with, like
Which is
titanium razor. And he's quickly
Dry shaving.
just no, there was lotion, there was cream.
I'm sorry.
There was cream. But the motion, it was sort of mirroring his tattoo sleeve. Now that I think about it, he was doing it in weird sections, like the sections did not make sense to me.
Yeah.
And yet it was like not just like a long smooth movement, it was like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I was like so stressed out by it.
Yeah, it was upsetting. I also am not a big fan of shaving your legs on your bed, like sit in the bathroom.
It's so
sit
gross, but she probably couldn't get comfortable in there. So I'm going to let that be a pass.
Fine, we'll let her.
I don't want to see Big Sean with a razor. And I, as a woman not married to him, like if I were to, like I wouldn't let him near me with a blade.
No, especially not during this conversation, because now they're having the same conversation Tyler and Alysia were having. And she's like, hey, I saw kind of the end of it because she was in the living room. How are you feeling? And with his whole razor, he's Sweeney Todding her. And
that is it. That is it.
She asked how he's feeling. I'm feeling frustrated and angry.
I don't want anyone feeling angry shaving my legs.
No.
Or holding a blade.
No. He's like, for me, it's not an issue. He's only angry.
This was diabolical. This scene was so upsetting.
It was really upsetting, but also what probably will get them a second season. And you go back to Tyler and Alysia, and Tyler's like, I don't need Sean to be a parent to me. I don't blame him. And he was like, if I did that to Sean, he would be pissed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Taya in the other room, well, I guess this is because of the razor thing. She seems to be agreeing with Sean because I'm like, girl.
Yeah. I wouldn't mess with him either.
Now it makes more sense. Thinking back, yeah. I would agree too. And
it's fawn. Flight or fight, flight, freeze or fawn. She's fawning. That was way too vulnerable a situation. I was actually on edge.
Yeah, it was too much. And Taya's saying, I don't like this tension. And Sean, who I wrote The Worst Man in America, says, well, what do you want me to do? I'm not going to sit in a circle with him and crochet me holding his yarn ball. It wasn't even creative.
Sir.
You need a yarn ball.
Stop thinking about long tools that are sharp.
True. True. I think he has a problem. Yeah, I do too.
Like, you can only think of a hobby that includes like a pokey, sharp thing.
True. I mean, we do come from the true crime world, so probably
that's true.
Not
Could be a lens with which I see things. Maybe, possibly.
So Taya says, I want you to talk to him and figure this out. And he's like, well, it won't happen. They're very different. So that's just going to be how it is, which is good for us people. It is very good for us. So Tyler,
I think I left this show. I'm just realizing.
I know it's a good hate show. Like I can't wait to hate them next week. That's how I feel.
No, same.
Not cheering for anybody. Could give a crap. Love Raina. But besides that,
Queen, and that means queen, by the way.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Even better. So yes, she is great, and she comes from Tyler. We know she comes from Tyler and not Sean. Therefore, I feel even better about giving.
We like a definitive DNA.
Yeah, we like a definitive Tyler's child.
Yeah.
So now we see Tyler the next morning. They're saying, we're about to have a baby, and he wants to let this whole thing go, which is very, very smart. Good job, Tyler.
Mature.
Yeah. So Taya and Tyler are in the kitchen the morning of the induction, kissing, eating, all that stuff. I hate people kissing in the mornings. Like, I'm just like, there's no way that was enjoyable for either of you. That was disgusting. No. Go brush your teeth. And you kind of hear Tyler, a talking head in the background, saying, I'm the least confrontational one here. But I want to do what's best for Taya and Quentin, who's the baby, and like he's going to let it go, which is great because I don't think in this situation Sean would have said, I'm going to let this go for my wife to have a baby.
Yeah. Which is it's just not about you.
No, everything's about Sean. So Tyler and Alysia, they say they're going to stay at the house until I guess Taya's grandparents get there to watch the kids, and then they're going to go to the hospital. We see them going to the hospital, and that's kind of where they leave us. There's like what's coming up, and one of those is like Taya maybe wants to add another person to their polycule. I was like, girl, you just had a baby.
I'm like, get your hands full. I don't know. Like, what are we running from, people? It feels like too much.
They're running from the eyelashes.
Yeah, that's like blocking
weighing
their
them down.
Common sense. Yeah. We learned, too, that they kind of live on a quasi-farm. Like, they have chickens, horses, and cats, in addition to 4, almost 5 kids, 4 adults. Like, it's just a lot. And I'm like, how would you bring in another person to this? Like,
yeah. And obviously, that person's going to be the least priority in this entire thing. Like, you don't matter.
But right. And so who are you going to attract in that situation? Right. Who would sign up for that? That's not going to be a stable person with a strong sense of self. Is my guess.
You know what?
Just a guess.
Exactly right.
Just a guess. Can't wait to meet them, though.
Yeah. Bring them next week. So, Rebekah, ranking. How would you rank these? Let's see.
Okay. So, in a tier from like top to bottom.
Yep.
Queen Raina.
Oh, I'm
not including all the kids, but just Raina's it's a totem pole. Raina's at the top.
Got it.
Tyler.
Yes.
Taya.
Yeah.
Alysia. Sean. Same?
Yeah, couldn't change a thing, except I would actually put Sean under the totem pole. Besides that, same.
He would be the soil that holds the totem.
Honestly, yeah, he would love it. Yeah, so I actually enjoyed it. I hated it too, but I enjoyed it.
Me too.
Yeah.
That was a really fun idea. I'm really glad we did this. It's nice to shake it up.
Yeah.
I would never have watched it in any other scenario, so
I'm so proud and horrified. Thank you so much.
Did you watch anything else, by the way?
I haven't really seen anything else. If you have, go ahead and tell me, and then I'll think if I have.
Okay. Apple TV.
Okay.
John Hamm.
Oh, okay. I don't know what it's called, but I know his new Apple TV where he used to be rich and now he's not, and something like that. Yeah?
Your Friends and Neighbors.
Okay.
I am loving it.
Really?
I'll also follow John Hamm wherever he may lead. He's so good.
He is so funny in everything, which cracks me up because I feel like people still think of him as like Don Draper in Mad Men. And I find him to be hilarious. He comes on Comedy Bang Bang all the time, my favorite podcast.
Oh, he's so good.
And he's so good on it.
He's
and
a great guest.
He knows so much pop culture. He was like, at what point I wanted to be a MTV VJ. And by the end of it, you're like, oh yeah, no, that would have.
He knows his stuff.
He knows everything.
He follows Bravo. He's been on people's shows talking about housewives and, he watches everything.
Before
like
it was cool.
Yeah. But he is so funny on shows. And this is it's like a dramedy.
Yeah.
He plays like darkly funny so well. But essentially you were right. The plot is that he's this super wealthy guy who loses his job for various reasons, lives in this very swanky suburb of New York City. I can't tell if it's Westchester, which is like ritzy north of the city, or Connecticut, like Greenwich. Can't tell. But it's one of those.
Okay.
And so he's divorced from his wife, and his wife lives in their former house with her new boyfriend, who's this guy who's like a former pro athlete.
Oh.
And so he's always like has to deal with his wife, who's Amanda P, and her new person. She's great. And she's great in this. Everyone's great in this. But basically he starts robbing his own friends to pay off his debts because he's lost his job, and he doesn't want to tell his ex and everybody in his life because he's like the man who's like totally got everything.
Yeah.
So he is like stealing watches and Hermes bags, and comedy ensues. He pulls it like basically some of the background characters in the show learn about it and like bribe him to become part of the ring. Like it's great.
Ooh. Oh, that's really
so
cool.
fun.
Did you ever see Good Girls? It was on NBC. I only watched like
it's
2
better than
seasons. Yeah, it kind of reminds me. I don't.
Yes, it is a similar premise. Well, yeah, like friends banding together to steal stuff. Like,
and Christina Hendricks was on.
Oh yeah, Mad Men.
Mad Men.
Yeah, good call.
Okay, so I want to check that out. I just don't want to get Apple. I just canceled it after Severance, and I just don't know
I've canceled and gotten it back so many times. Their shows are so quality.
They are. I'll wait until I can binge like all of them in like
no, that's a good idea, and then you can just cancel. again.
Maybe I'll do that. Okay. Well, I love that. Well, here's one that we've talked about before and you love, but I really think it's worth bringing up again.
Okay.
Let's say late night, Max, female-led comedy.
Hacks?
Yes.
It's back.
Yes. It's so...
But is it on? Like,
yeah.
It's not coming soon? It's here?
No, there's 3 or 4 episodes.
Best news ever. Oh my gosh.
I haven't heard anybody talking about it really, so I didn't start till the second week.
I just saw a preview for it on YouTube TV watching PolyFamily, and I didn't catch like the when or where. I know, talk about collision of different worlds.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's coming back. It makes me so happy. People love this show.
It's so good. The writing is so perfect. And Hannah, is it Eden? I never know how to say her name right.
I forget.
She's so funny. And I'm
so
always
good.
amazed at how much like she just says off the cuff and they like, obviously cut some stuff. But yeah, they use a lot. She's also on Comedy Bang Bang. She's been on there twice. Like she loves going on there. So now she like has her, PR people put her on there, but it doesn't really make sense. I love it. I mean, like amazing. It doesn't make sense for her PR people.
Right.
But
I heard her with Terry Gross on Fresh Air and it was lovely. Like, I really like her.
She is so funny. And of course, Jean Smart is incredible. And
Goddess.
I'm so glad there is this show
I'm so
in the world.
Glad you told me. This is, talk about like highs and lows in terms of quality television. We just scraped the bottom of the barrel. No, we did. We did.
There's
Hacks
lower.
Is like, yes. Okay. The bottom of the barrel. There is beneath the barrel. You could tell us all about it, I'm sure. Next time on Criminality.
True.
Oh, but I also discovered something else that isn't a show that is on social media. And thankfully I discovered it like I do. A TikTok became a reel, but they're mostly a TikTok account. It's called Champagne Roast, but it's like champagne.roast.
Okay.
And now they're on Instagram, thankfully. So I can watch them there. But they're just like doing a lot of reality TV. Like they have funny commentary on reality TV. But the weird thing is they're hyper focused on Farmer Wants a Wife, which is just such a like hilarious. Random choice. But it's weirdly working and it makes me a little bit want to watch. I've seen clips of Farmer Wants a Wife, but now I'm like, I might need to watch this. But it's a super fun follow.
Oh, that's fun. Date with Dateline, I think, watches Farmer Wants a Wife. Perfect. Right. But Rebekah, one question I do have for you is what is it going to take to get you on TikTok more permanently? You will send me reels. I get notifications. The only person sending me reels is you. So I have to go in, watch a couple of them. I've seen them already because they were
I know, because you come from the future, which is TikTok. The future is TikTok.
Is the future. And I
it also might go away, and then everyone's going to come crawling back to Instagram Reels.
I didn't. It was 24 hours, and I said I will.
No,
fight.
It might happen again. It's on the chopping block.
But whatever. I'll live another day.
You'll cross that bridge. Yeah.
Yes, but my goal for you for 2025, if TikTok stays around, is to move over there.
Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah. I send you TikToks to your messages. Like I have to get them to you.
I know. And sometimes they don't open properly. It would be better to be in the app.
If you get that algorithm to know you, so good. So good.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
I know it's not. We'll see.
Stop lying.
I don't know. Stranger things have happened. We just had a blast recapping a new TLC show. So
yeah.
Never say never.
Me, but okay.
I think we're going to be back in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.